India Today.
Good afternoon and welcome to India Today. We jump straight into a breaking news as US and India trade talks once again get jump-started with the US chief negotiator landing in India. Union Minister Hardeep Puri has spoken exclusively to India today. He is the Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and he says that India is opening up for trade talks, but they are confident of good outcome under the Prime Minister. Also, Hardeep Singh Puri is saying that the India first approach will be used as we head into these trade talks. Watch this exclusively.
What we have also seen in recent days is the message which has come from the Prime Minister that he stands for the people of India, for the Indian farmers. This is in the context of course, the ongoing trade talks. I'm speaking to you at a time, sir, when the key negotiator is here in India. How do you see the trade talks and in which direction is it going?
I am a trade negotiator, I'm a diplomat. The one lesson I've learned is never to speculate on the outcome of a negotiation whilst the negotiation is going on. What I can tell you, Maria, is that under the instruction of the Prime Minister, you will get a good outcome. Let's leave it at that. When you and I meet bilaterally or after a while and you want to talk about the trade talks, but as we speak, the negotiations are going on, and I think wisdom and maturity lies in not speculating on outcomes.
And India first is the principle with which you have entered.
That's a country's thing. But you know, in a trade negotiation, there is always a question of negotiating. अभी ये तो होता नहीं कि मैं आपके साथ negotiate करूंगा, आपकी सारी बातें मान जाऊंगा, या आप मेरे साथ negotiate करते मेरी सारी बातें मान जाएंगे. Let's leave it at that. It will be a good outcome.
What are the sticking points you're saying?
I am not getting into that. It's not my cup of tea.
But sir, you know, overall, the message that has come from Prime Minister Modi has been about his persona in which he will not buckle under any kind of pressure.
Let me tell you, he has a very big persona, and whatever the instructions are, the negotiators will, but I don't think it's right to speculate on this issue. I'm willing to move from here to any other issue that you want.
And joining us on the phone line is India Today's Maria Shakil. Maria, energy is something that is extremely crucial to India, and India is being targeted by the US apparently for that reason only. So when the petroleum minister says that negotiations are open and India's interest will be taken care of, how do we read this?
We read this in the context of how Prime Minister Modi had drawn that red line when there was repeated provocation coming in directly from the US President, Donald Trump. When he had said that he will ensure that the interest of the farmers and the interest of the MSMEs will be the priority of the government of India. And look, this is coming at a time when the key negotiator, the chief negotiator for the United States is here in India. The message from the government, of course, is that India's interests will be paramount. And even as India is on the, talking table, it will keep the interest of the farmers, the agriculture, space as its key interest as it goes ahead.
Right. Maria, do also tell us that this negotiations, you were asking the minister what are the sticking points, but he was sort of sidestepping that. But what truly are, in your assessment, the sticky points of this negotiation?
You know, what we have seen from the Indian side so far has been, Anjali, that there has been a great degree of caution while the trade talks are on. The Indian side hasn't really revealed its cards like the Americans have done. So yes, the sticking point, as we have been told repeatedly by sources in the government, has been always that India's indication that as far as the interests of the farmers are concerned, that will not be compromised. Agriculture is one area India will not be opening up much in even as it goes ahead with these trade talks. India's Commerce Secretary is the prime negotiator on our side as the U.S. negotiators continue with the negotiations in New Delhi.
Right. Thank you, Maria, for all those details. So all eyes will be on those trade talks as the chief negotiator of US is in India. Now let's go across to Sakshi Batra of Business Today with all the updates of the market. Sakshi, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Anjali, for that. Good afternoon and welcome to Market Closing Show, which is our collab show between Business Today and India Today Television. It's 3 p.m. and we will get you all the market closing action of the day. First, let's take a look at what's hot in the corporate and the financial space. U.S. negotiator Brendan Lynch meets Commerce Ministry officials at Vanijya Bhavan in New Delhi. Sources say closed-door discussions with India's chief negotiator Rajesh Agrawal focus on reviving the trade talks. Markets trade higher ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve policy outcome, with India-U.S. trade talks also on the radar. Sensex tops 82,000, up 400 points. Nifty tests 25,200 on weekly expiry, while auto stocks lead the rally. Textile stocks surge up to 6% in trade on hopes from India-US trade talks revival. KPR Mill, Wellspun Living, Indocount and Gokuldas Exports shine in trade. Gold prices trade near all-time high levels in domestic markets as MCX October futures hit 1.10 lakh rupees per 10 grams. December contracts at 1.11 lakh rupees per 10 grams, boosted by global cues and expectations of a US Federal Reserve rate cut. Deadline relief for taxpayers as ITR filing has been extended for the day. With just 9 hours left now, over 7.3 crore returns have already been filed, crossing last year's 7.28 crores. Also a final window for those yet to file. Let's straight away talk about the markets now. In the last half an hour of trade, we are seeing the Nifty actually hovering around 25,225 odd mark. We're near the day's high point now, 0.6% higher. The volumes are pretty strong, and remember, this is the weekly expiry that we are seeing for the Nifty and the Nifty contracts as well. Now let's look at a broad-based move that we are looking at into the markets. Barring FMCG, rest all of the sectors are actually pulling up in trade. Look at autos, for instance. We are seeing a 1.4% of an uptick on the auto index. Realty index follows next with again about a percent gains here. Infrastructure and even the broader markets, the small caps and the mid cap stocks are actually doing pretty well in trade right now. Talk about the top gainers on the Nifty. You have Kotak Mahindra Bank from the private sector banks. That's up by 2.5% after a long haul. We are seeing the stock up by sharp margin. You can see and 2020 odd levels coming in on Kotak Mahindra now. L&T follows next with again a 2% up move. M&M, Maruti Suzuki and also Bajaj Auto from the auto space is up. Bharti Airtel, also another stock that's also hovering higher in trade. Let's look at the laggards, however. Tata Consumer Products is declining in trade, almost a percent lower. Bajaj Finance, Asian Paints, Nestle and even Shriram Finance and HDFC Life are some of the other stocks that are declining in trade. But PSU stocks, they continue to shine bright from the last couple of sessions. They've been all up and about, including defense, railways, power stocks. All of them are in thick action. Look at the PSU index. BEL is up over a percent. BHEL is also up by over a percent as well. BPCL. You also have Coal India, Concor and GAIL as among those stocks that are higher in trade as well. Let's also look at some of the gainers and losers as far as the Nifty 500 basket is concerned. You do see stocks like Redington, for instance, that's up by 20%. Block deal of about 1% equity has exchanged hands in multiple blocks is what we have seen, and Redington is the top mover on the Nifty 500 basket. Look at stocks like even Allied Digital Services, for instance, Zodiac Clothing, a lot of those textile-related stocks, Ruby Mills, KPR Mills, Gokaldas, all of them are in thick action right now. Let's actually welcome our guest on board, Sunny Agrawal, who's the DVP and Head of Fundamental Desk at SBI Securities, is now joining in on the program. Warm welcome to you, Sunny. Good to have you with us. First up, tell us, after this substantial move that we've seen today of 25,250 being crossed on an intraday basis, how do you see the market move from here? What is it really drawing from as fresh sentiments as well?
Good afternoon, Sakshi, and thanks for having me on the show. I think, again, markets are looking to cross the key major resistance if I talk about technical level. So we feel that 25,200, 250 is the key resistance. In case the market is able to take off that level, then we can see maybe closer to 25,600 or 25,800 levels. That's speaking technically. Moving on to fundamental parameter, I think the positive development on India-US trade deal is something which can aid the market to move upwards, and because that's the only thing overhang which we see in the market. If you look from a domestic macro perspective, I think they are in a very good shape, whether it is an support from the government in terms of tax benefit, GST rationalization, or rate cut by an RBI, and not to forget the recent upgrade by S&P after the span of 17-18 years. So I think domestic macro is on very strong footing. The overhang of US, in case there is some abatement in terms of negative news flow on India-US trade deal, we feel that markets are likely to do well in as we look forward to the festive season of Navratri and Diwali.
Absolutely. You rightly pointed out that there are hopes that are being, coming in yet again, that as far as the India-US trade talks are concerned, they could soon resume. We have already got the chief negotiator of the US right here in India today for a single day to maybe close some gaps as regards to the trade talks are concerned and how they were stalled for some time for now at least. And that's why we're also looking at a lot of stocks that are in the buzz. Look at the textile stocks, for instance. You name Indocount Industries, KPR Mills, Raymond, Gokaldas Exports, all of them are in thick action today. So let's find out whether this is the space that you can once again look at. Sunny, what's your approach on the textile space?
Yeah, definitely. I think textile has been a beaten down sector, and especially in the wake of their exposure to the US market and the ongoing negotiation. In case India is able to strike a deal with the US, I think the textile company can take advantage of an upcoming festive season in United States of America, which usually span between November and December. Still, I mean, textile company has gotten some room to catch up on any loss of business because of this ongoing trade lock between India and US. So if I have to pick one or two stocks among the textile name, I think Gokaldas Export and Welspun Living, these are the two names which we feel can offer a better risk-reward ratio at a current juncture, with a caveat that India-US trade deal is something which will go through ahead of the festive season in United States of America. Having said that, there are many other businesses. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Sunny, we'll come back to that. This is a deeper topic and we will try to understand a lot of things even beyond the textile space here. But there's breaking news coming on your screens, viewers. Apollo Tyres, New Jersey sponsor of the Indian cricket team now. Apollo's deal will now run till 2027. Remember, Apollo will be paying 4.5 crore rupees per game to the BCCI as well. Remember, this is big news that's actually coming in with regards to the tire company. Apollo Tyres is the New Jersey sponsor of the Indian cricket team now. And of course, this is a deal that will take place up until 2027. 2 more years to go for this deal to continue. And for this, Apollo Tyres will be paying 4.5 crore rupees per game to BCCI as well going forward from here. So this is big news that's actually coming in. Remember, we've also been seeing in the past all the sponsors that were with regards to the online gaming sponsors that we used to have for the Indian cricket team have actually seen their deals stall right after the online gaming bill was passed, last month. And last 2 months, we've been seeing a lot of changes in this entire space because of the reforms coming in. A lot of companies are completely changing the way and restructuring the way they have been functioning at large. But finally, we have a new name coming in for the Indian cricket team, and that's Apollo Tyres right there. You can see the stock also jump by about 1.6% in trade, and Apollo Tyres is actually replacing Dream 11 there, with respect to being the team sponsor on the jersey as well. Remember, Dream 11 had pulled out of its deal right after the online gaming bill was passed, which had put a complete ban on all real money gaming as far as was seen. And Dream 11 was a major player on that front, and we were hoping to see a new name come in, and there you have it. Apollo Tyres is now going to be the key New Jersey sponsor for Team India and the cricket team right there. Apollo Tyres for you from the tire space. Big deal coming in. Apollo Tyres, any specific chart momentum or fundamental coverage that you can share with us, Sunny?
Yeah, first of all, happy to see that Apollo Tyre will become a key sponsor as far as the Indian cricket team is concerned. Obviously, that can have some bump up in terms of, that can lead to some bump up in terms of some spend on advertisement by Apollo Tyre. Need to hear from management the exact strategy on how that is going to be spent and what is an ROI which management is expecting from that. Coming to fundamentals, again, Apollo Tyre right now is trading close to 25 times price to earning multiple. Not a favorite stock at a current juncture. So among the tire packs, if I have to choose one stock, that will be C8 Limited.
Okay, fair point. But the stock is definitely reacting on a positive side at this point in time. 1.5% up, 1.7% now. It's actually seen some uptick after that news flow. But let's go back to trying and understanding the big news point as far as the India-US trade talks are concerned, as they seem to be back in focus with Washington's chief negotiator, Brendan Lynch, in New Delhi for crucial round of discussions there. This actually comes after the US has imposed steep 50% import tariffs on Indian goods, a move that India has called unfair and unjustified. My colleague Karishma Sudani is now joining in to share with us more on this. Karishma, help us understand what's on the agenda of these talks. What are you picking up?
Actually, the agenda is pretty clear. Is the fair optimism of the fact that we are back on the talking, on the deal table, on the talking terms, and this meeting today is going to set a precursor for what's about to come. It was in the month of July that fifth round of negotiations between the US and India had to end, and the resumption could not take for a while, and that's because of various other reasons which are well known to all of us. Plus on that came punitive tariffs to us, which have just been a pain for us when it comes to our export numbers, which have also seen some kind of steep fall. Now today's meeting will set a precursor to what's about to come, but optimism hailing from both the ends, especially on the fact that even White House trade advisor has mentioned that India and US are back on the talking table.
Absolutely. But Karishma, help us understand, India has completely refused to budge on the agri and the dairy aspect, saying that this is a red line for us. We have to protect our farmers' community. And this is something that is a non-negotiable at this point in time. What changes, when the meeting happens today? The circumstances actually still remain the same.
Well, Sakshi, ironically, the key sticking point for us, though, has been agriculture and dairy. It's now been shifted to a different spectrum. If you see what we have been discussing now is on our dependence on Russia, which has bothered the US more. So we'll not be surprised if rather the pinching point could be on that rather than agri or dairy that now US is looking forward to. But I'd say everything would be unjustified until we hear officially from what the ministry has to say, which will probably be in a day.
Absolutely. Well, keep an eye on that, Karishma. Maybe by tonight we get to know some of the other details as to what has been the outcome of today's meeting as well. And that will be an important one that the markets will be tracking even for tomorrow's trading session as well. Remember, viewers, exporters' bodies say that the pressure has definitely been rising, with Ajay Sahai of FIO pointing out that retaining global market share is actually becoming increasingly costly as India faces a 30 to 35% duty cap compared to the competitors as well. And the bigger concern he has added is not just the headline tariff, but the additional secondary tariffs weighing on the industry. Let's listen in to what the CEO of FIO had to say.
I'm pretty sure that this will bring both the sides on negotiation very shortly. We have the deadline of concluding this by fall of 2025. We still have few months to go. And I'm pretty sure that looking into the development now and both sides knowing where the things stand, what is something which is negotiable or not negotiable, it will be easy to move forward from here.
So you have been also having talks with your FIO body member, and they were perhaps very curious and having a high hopes. What are their expectations?
No, in fact, everybody is expecting that with the talks we should be able to resolve the matter because otherwise the cost which has to be provided to exporter to retain the market is quite humongous, and that may not be possible. We are looking into a duty differential with our competitor of around 30 to 35%, but I'm pretty sure that BTA can provide an answer. They can be conducive environment which may lead to some of the issues relating to the secondary tariff also. It is not just that the 25% tariff is the problem. I think bigger problem for the industry is that 25% secondary tariff also.
Right. Coming back to Sunny. Sunny, now help us understand, of course, the hopes are up as far as some of easing out of that 50% tariff is concerned. Maybe some of the gaps are closed today that could further the talks going forward from here between India and US to the progressive side. How are you looking at the impact that could have on the markets thus far? Remember, over the last couple of weeks, Indian markets are only dependent on the domestic news flows. Specifically on the GST reforms to really rely on and move up higher in trade. But there has been a constant resistance above 25,000 that we've been facing on the markets. Do you think if there is some potential positive outlook as far as the trade tariffs are concerned, the markets could actually move once again towards the erstwhile highs? What's your thought?
Yeah, definitely, Sakshi. I think any progress towards India-US trade deal will definitely lead to a short covering in the market. So we have already seen that the long-short ratio for FII is very aggressive, so close to 10 to 11% only long positioning we are seeing from foreign institutional investor. So at least any progress on India-US trade deal will lead to a short covering, and that can propel Nifty by another 600 to 800 points. That's our view. And having said that, again, beginning next Monday, market is looking forward to the pent-up demand from Navratri, and that can also give a leg up to the market and confidence that the Indian corporates can report a kind of double-digit earning growth beginning December quarter.
Absolutely. Let's actually shift focus and look at what's happening as far as the pharma space is concerned. Now, all of you viewers must have already noticed that India is seeing a surge in obesity-related health concerns. And we've also seen Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly already being pretty active in this space as well. In an exclusive first ever TV interview to India, Praveen Akinapelli, who's the country president and the managing director of AstraZeneca Pharma India, has spoken to our colleague Neetu Chandra Sharma about AstraZeneca's plans to roll out and to also participate in the weight loss drugs race as well in India. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Obesity. It's a major focus in Indian pharma with Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. They've already launched their drugs in India. Is AstraZeneca also planning to enter this segment, and what is the timeline for an India rollout?
Yes, certainly. I think when you think about, the unmet need, clearly in the context of obesity, you see this has become a global sort of pandemic. There is a lot of, patients across the world, and certainly in India, that need new treatment regimens. And it's great to see that is, the new science is translating into new new AstraZeneca, of course, has a long history of, investment and bringing scientific innovations in the context of cardio-renal and cardio-metabolic diseases. So that continues to be an area of focus for us, and we are working hard to bring the next generation of therapies in that context. For example, we have some oral GLP-1s that are part of our portfolio. But the other thing that we are looking at is that really appreciating the complexity of the disease. So it is not any one disease. There's a lot of, sort of interconnected factors that play out when we think about cardiorenal and cardiometabolic diseases. So hypertension and some of these comorbid conditions are also very much relevant. So we are not only looking at, for example, something like the oral GLP-1s, but we're also looking at combinations that really address the complexity of the disease. So we are very excited to bring those next generation of medicines. I think the timeline, of course, depends on how the clinical data will pan out, but this is certainly an area of focus for us at AstraZeneca as well.
All right, so that's the big exclusive that we've got from AstraZeneca Pharma on TV, the first ever TV interview given to Neetu Chandra Sharma, who tracks health for business today, right here, talking about how, the company is clearly focused on the obesity space and is looking at rolling out oral drugs as far as GLP-1 is concerned. Coming back to Sunny. Sunny, what's your thought as far as AstraZeneca Pharma is concerned? And also if you could help us understand your own sense of how Indian pharma companies are now thinking of doubling down on this newfound opportunity that global pharma giants have already come to India with by launching the anti-obesity drugs.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a big opportunity for domestic pharma majors, and most of the companies are already working on that. As AstraZeneca, you rightly pointed out, they are working on that. And in addition to that, a few more names which comes to my mind is Shell Engineering and Plastic, which is already making a plastic pen through which the drug will be delivered. So whether it is a semi-glutide glutide or a GLP-1. So I think Shell is already working for a Canadian market, and I hope that any expansion in market as far as India is concerned, that will benefit Shell Engineering. Coming to overall pharma industry, I think CDMO is a space to be in. Very solid set of growth we are witnessing across CDMO or CRO. So if I have to name few companies over there, Sai Life Sciences or the recently listed Anthem Bio Science, these are the few names which come to my mind when it comes to CDMO space.
Okay, fair point. So that's the entire pharma story that we are going to be tracking as well. Remember, we are also going to be seeing a whole host of momentum across the board. We are also looking at the food delivery space as that's gaining some momentum right ahead of the upcoming festive season. We are looking at how Eternal, Swiggy, the quick commerce giants, Nykaa for that matter, Honasa Consumer, the parent company of Mamaearth, how are they really looking at the upcoming opportunity? Look at how both Zomato and Swiggy are higher in trade. They're at the day's high point. Both Zomato, the parent companies, Eternal as well as Swiggy, up by 3.5%. Nykaa is also up by over 1%. So the internet-based companies, the tech-focused companies are back into action today. In fact, interestingly, Sunny, I'm going to be helping all our viewers understand through you how Eternal has actually now beaten even two Tata Group companies in the terms of market cap as well. Both Titan and Tata Motors in the market cap race to now join the Nifty top 25 companies as well. In fact, with this, we have actually seen the market cap of Eternal now come in at 3.13 lakh crore rupees as well. And the stock has been consistently in focus, driven by strong momentum in the revenue growth, profitability focus, as well as the expansion of its quick commerce business, that's Blinkit. How are you looking at these entire space stocks as far as Zomato is also concerned? What's your call here?
Yeah, I think no doubt that Zomato is trading at an expensive valuation when you look at other well-established players like, Titan, or for that matter, Hindustan Unilever. But ultimately, the point is that the way we are seeing a ramp up in the number of new customers which Zomato is adding, and the expansion of total addressable market with quick commerce in their fold, I think J-curve is something which is very close by, and the way we have seen a ramp up in a platform fee from 1 rupee or 2 rupee just a year back to a close to now 14-15 rupee, I think that number will straight away flow to the bottom line. So I think the potential to deliver exponential sequential growth in terms of profit is significant, whether it is for Swiggy or Zomato. If I have to choose one stock among this food delivery space, I think Swiggy is relatively well placed because of the valuation at which it is trading as compared to the Zomato. And we believe that both the segment food delivery and quick commerce should perform well during the festive season, backed by a very robust increase in the platform fee, which we have seen during the last 15 to 30 days.
Absolutely. Now, Sunny, help us understand when we talk about festive season, a lot of our viewers would also be looking to, also shop for bullion, the yellow metal and the white metal as well, gold and silver for that matter. Both of them are trading at near all-time high levels. We've also seen how in the international markets for the first time, $3,700 per ounce kind of a gold level has been crossed as well. So the momentum is not just domestic, it's also globally driven as well as far as the prices for both gold and silver are concerned. We're also looking at one more trigger, and that will come in tomorrow night when the U.S. Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States of America, decides on the rates front as well, the policy rate decision. There is markets have already penciled in a 25 basis points of a rate cut. That's further probably going to be appealing or increasing the appeal for the gold as well as silver metals as well. I want to understand from you, when we look at a retail investor looks at gold and silver as an opportunity, we do see the optical high levels as something which is out of reach. But if somebody wants to participate in this run-up through the listed stock market space, how are you looking at playing that one? Are gold financiers a better bet? Because we are also looking at increased gold loans at this point in time as the prices soar to all-time high levels. Or would you play it through the jewelry makers? What would you do this festive season?
Yeah, definitely, Sakshi, as you rightly pointed out, gold finance business is the key beneficiary as we see increase in gold prices. But one has to keep in mind that we have already seen a rally which has played out in both the key market leaders, Manappuram and Muthoot Finance. So a slight caution is advisable over there. I think another way to ride this sector is through B2B or B2C player. So we have seen many B2B player recently got listed as far as jewelry sector is concerned. So two names which we like is one is Shanti Gold and one is Sky Gold, which is one of the oldest player to get listed on as far as B2B platform is concerned. And moving on to the branded jewelry space, I think Senco Gold is the one name which we feel can be added at a current juncture from medium to long-term perspective.
Fair point. Well, the markets have shut shop, so let's quickly shift focus to help you understand how the markets have closed in today's trade. 25,255 near the high point of the day, viewers. We are up by 0.7%, led by strong volumes in the markets as well. The weekly expiry has been on a very strong footing. The Nifty Bank also nearly a 0.5% uptake, 260 point of a jump for the Nifty Bank as well. We've now managed to climb above that 55,147 odd mark that we had crossed intraday yesterday, but failed to cover it towards the closing end of the session. But today we've managed to close above that level on the Nifty Bank. What has really led to the momentum? Auto sector, 1.4% higher, the top moving sector in terms of the gains that we have seen. Which are the top movers on the trade today? Kotak Mahindra Bank, Larsen & Toubro, M&M from the auto space, all upwards of 2.5% in trade. Maruti, Eicher Motors from the auto pack, also driving in the fast lane. Bharti Airtel ringing in loud as far as the markets are concerned. You're also seeing some, steel stocks and even the cement stocks that were also buzzing in trade. But on the flip side, look at Tata Consumer Products, down by almost 1%. Shriram Finance, Asian Paints also dragged a little bit. We also did see less participation from a Nestle, Bajaj Finance and HDFC Life. Largely the NBFC space that stayed on the back foot and some FMCG stocks that continue to be in the downward momentum. But largely it was a broad-based positive session that we have seen in the markets today. Let me also highlight some Nifty 500 names for you. Those that have shot up in sharp double digits in trade today. Reddington with a 20% circuit. We've also seen names like Allied Digital Services 15% higher, Mirza International 15% up in trade. Remember, this is the leather space that we are looking at. Zodiac Clothing from the textile space that's buzzing. Ruby Mills also from the same space as well. A lot of other stocks also that continued to be in sharp momentum. Coming back to Sunny. Sunny, your thought on what should be done in the markets for the rest of the week. Does everything depend on what outcome comes in from the India-US trade talk today?
Yes, Sakshi, I think it will be keenly watching an development on India-US trade talk. And what the way forward, and maybe ahead of Diwali, Street is hopeful that some midway solution is there in place between India and US. If that is the case, I think Street will look forward to that development. And in addition to that, I think the Street is keenly awaiting for 22nd of November, where we will see a festive season kicking off and the demand trend during the festive season.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Sunny, then, for being with us and for sharing all those insights. Viewers, the markets have shut shop, but we do have, an exclusive chat with Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, who's told India Today and has clarified that ethanol blending has no adverse impact on vehicles. He did point out that India has achieved its 20% ethanol blending target years ahead of the schedule, saving the country nearly 1.4 lakh crore rupees in fuel imports and reducing the pollution levels as well. The minister has also stressed that there is no controversy around the program and that similar efforts have been successful in countries like Brazil. He also added that the initiative is turning India's farmers into energy providers for the nation. Let's listen in to that exclusive chat with Maria.
गाड़ियों पे कोई असर नहीं है। भारत सरकार ने ये निर्णय लिया था कि नवंबर 2022 तक 10% एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग कर लेंगे। ये जो हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव था ये 5 महीने पहले ही हो गया था। दूसरा हमने ऑब्जेक्टिव कहा 20% एथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग वो 2030 तक होगी, वो भी हमने 5-6 साल पहले कर लिया है। और 20% ब्लेंडिंग में कंपनियों ने बयान दिया है, सियाम सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडियन ऑटोमोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ने बयान दिया है, ब्राजील में भी हुआ है, उसमें कोई विवाद नहीं है। प्रॉब्लम कहाँ शुरू हुई है, कहीं कुछ स्टेटमेंट आ गई कि हम इससे आगे जाने वाले हैं, उसके जाने वाले पे जो होगा अभी इसमें कोई निर्णय नहीं हुआ। मैं आपको विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं, इसमें कोई कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं है।
And with that, viewers, it's a wrap on the Business Today show. But don't miss the market opening show tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Abba Bakaya, giving you the first word on everything that will move the market. Stay tuned. From how the markets move today to what's setting the stage for tomorrow. From tariffs to taxes, mutual funds.